Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spooky Sunday, where we watch three scary videos that I have found, and then, well, you guys see them and me reacting to them. Anyway, subscribe if you want, and let's get into it.
Ever since I can remember, we've always had one of those old vintage Parker Brother Ouija boards sitting in our closet collecting dust. When I was a kid, I always wondered what it was. From the box, it seemed like a horrible board game, until one day I found out what a Ouija board really is, and immediately dug it out of the closet. I insisted on my brother trying it out with me, and eventually got him to play along.
Duh.
We put our hands on the planchette, and I began asking the typical cliche questions like, is there anybody there? And, can you answer me? Other than my brother jokingly moving the planchette around to imitate an answer from some kind of entity, there was no real response. After getting bored, we
Until.
put the game back in the box.
No, 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 no. Let me show you the rules of a Ouija board. It's. No. 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 What is the introduction 13 rules. Okay. No. No, no. All right, so we're on the anthonyarms.com. Nope. Okay, that's a pretty cool looking Ouija board. Always be respectful, so that means like don't beat the crap out of the game, such as kicking it, stomping on it, burning it, throwing it out a window. That's not good. Don't believe everything the spirits say because that can be horrible, because a demon could be telling you that it's a lost loved one. So then you will get manipulated into doing some horrible things. Never played alone, which they didn't break. There was two of them. Don't ask. Don't ask specific questions. Like, don't ask, when will the world end? How will you die? Those are questions you don't want to ask. Will I get sick? The Are you an evil spirit? I wouldn't. Don't. Can I talk to a demon? Do not ask, can I talk to a demon? Do you want to hurt me? No. Don't say this. Because that's most likely going to give them their answer. Don't leave the plain chat on the board. Because that. Alright, so you do that, there's a good chance you die. Yep, that makes sense because it can leave some unwanted guests there still. Alright, group leader, person that asks the questions. You want to take your notes. Have a positive state of mind. Oh, that's going to be bad for me. Choose the location wisely. So, don't do it in a graveyard. Different conductors. Don't burn it. Here it is. Always say goodbye. They didn't say goodbye. They just took their hands off and let it go. No, you always have to say goodbye. It is a must do for this hoodoo voodoo that you do.
I did a little research that night to find out how to make Ouija boards work. Many people said online that the most ideal environment when using a Ouija board is in a dark room only lit by candles. So when my parents weren't home, I managed to gather like 6 or 7 candles and convinced my brother to try it one more time.
Oh, come
I lit
on.
the candles and set them around the table in the dining room with all the lights out. We tried one more time. I asked again if there was anybody there. The planchette began to move. I told my brother to stop moving it, but he swore he wasn't. I told him to move his hand away, and he did. It kept moving.
You're breaking so many rules!
My brother thought I was messing with him, but I didn't pay attention. The planchette landed on the word yes. I was only 9, so I was legitimately shitting myself. My older brother had to take over. He asked the question, "Are you a good spirit?" There was a 5-second pause.
Idiots! It's... What? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, are you an evil spirit? I feel like that asking, are you a good spirit, is the equivalent. Because if they say no, then that's basically asking, are you evil?
Pause before my brother's hand moved along with the planchette to the word no. We both looked at each other, and at this point I ran to my room and shut the door behind me, but he continued on with the so-called game.
No! No! You don't! No! You left him to play it alone! You're not supposed to play it alone! Oh, come on.
I heard his muffled voice come from down in the dining room, when all of a sudden I heard him screaming at the top of his lungs.
Oh, that's creepy.
I ran back downstairs to see what was wrong. He was holding up his shirt, revealing a small open wound that almost looked like a claw mark. He told me to set the fireplace immediately, and I obeyed. He threw the thing in the fireplace and told me to never...
You're not supposed to burn the Ouija board! You quickly say goodbye, and you leave! Continue.
never speak of what happened to anybody. We have never used a Ouija board since.
Good! Probably because if you do, you're gonna die. Campfires. Who doesn't love a good campfire? Oh, that's the wrong button. There we are.
So me and a couple of my buddies went camping last summer alongside the Willamette River. We actually had a decent hike into the deep end of woods.
What is that chin? What is that chin? What is that nose? Bro's on the verge of getting that Squidward nose over here.
We did some night fishing, listening to music, and basically drank to the point where everything was funny later in the night. I would guess we finally called it a night somewhere past 2 a.m. I shared a tent with one of my buds, while the other two shared another tent. We heard them laughing about something. At first we laughed at the sound of their laughing, but it soon got annoying and we yelled for them to shut up. One of them responded, "It isn't us." I sat up, startled at the response. I came to realize that it was the sound of only one person laughing, and it didn't sound like either one of my friends.
Oh, that's just creepy.
Even in my drunk state, I realized how odd it was for somebody to be out this far in the woods so late at night. The laughing gradually got closer and louder to our campout. My friend shot up and looked at me with a worried look on his face. I heard my other friends scream over to us that they were getting freaked out.
Everyone get
As
up,
the laughing
run.
got even closer, I could make it out very clearly to be the laugh of a male, probably in his 30s or 40s. He sounded
How can you figure all of that out via them laughing?
like he was as drunk as us, messing around with friends, but we only heard his laugh, nobody else. There was something
You better get up and get out of that forest now.
indescribably creepy about his laugh too, as if it was missing something to it. You had to be there to understand what I mean. The laughing was now just at the edge of our campsite, but we couldn't hear any footsteps at all. Now that may not seem like a big deal. It was impossible to move through that without making noise. And finally, all of a sudden, the laughing stopped completely. We had no idea where whoever that was standing, as he hadn't made a single stepping sound. We sat there in silence looking at each other. My friend was clearly freaking out, but he was keeping it together the best he could. Finally, something broke the silence. The sound of something rubbing against the cottony fabric of the tent. We saw the outline of a hand
Oh, heck no! Get up and get out!
through the moonlight, pressing on the tent.
Run!
We both screamed at the top of our
There
lungs
we
before
go.
getting out of the tent.
There
we ran
we
as
go!
fast as we could through the woods, our other friends following us. After about 5 minutes of running, we
If you park directly on the side of the road, why? Why directly on the side?
somehow found our car. I actually puked from running so much before taking the wheel. I don't condone drinking and driving, but I still believe we were just in this situation. By far the most horrific experience of my life. No idea who or what the hell that was, or what they wanted.
Whew. That's creepy. We got a night shift. Oh, we get the smiling man.
About 5 years ago, I lived downtown in a major city in the US. I've always been a night person, so I would often find myself bored after my roommate, who was decidedly not a night person, went to sleep. To pass the time, I used to go for long walks and spend the time thinking. I spent 4 years like that, walking alone at night, and never once had a reason to feel afraid.
I enjoy going on walks, but not at night. Keep in mind, I live at Forest. Forest is creepy as ever.
I always used to joke with my roommates that even the drug dealers in the city were polite, but all of that changed in just a few minutes of one evening. It was a Wednesday, somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning, and I was walking near a police-patrolled park quite a ways from my apartment. It was a quiet night, even for a weeknight, with very little traffic and almost no one on foot. The park, as it was most nights, was completely empty. I went down a short side street in order to loop back down my apartment when I first noticed him. At the far end of the street, on my side, was the silhouette of a man dancing. It was a strange dance, similar to a waltz, but he finished each box with an odd forward stride. I guess you could say he was dance walking, headed straight for me. Deciding
That's
he was
creepy.
probably drunk, I stepped as close as I could to the road to give him the majority of the sidewalk to pass me. The closer he got, the more I realized how gracefully he was moving. He was very tall and lanky and wearing an old suit. He danced closer still
Oh, that's
until I could
creepy.
make out his face. His eyes were open wide and wild, head tilted back slightly, looking off at the sky. His mouth was formed in a painfully wide cartoon of a smile. Between the eyes and the smile, I decided to cross the street before he danced any closer. I took my eyes off of him to cross the empty street. As I reached the other side, I glanced back. and then stopped dead in my tracks. He had stopped dancing and was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly parallel to me. He
Run.
was facing me, but still looking skyward, smile still wide on his lips. I was completely and utterly unnerved by this. I started walking again, but kept my eyes on the man. He didn't move. Once I had put about half a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty. Still unnerved, I looked back to where he had been standing to find him gone. For the briefest of moments,
that's
I
a little
felt
creepy.
relieved, until I noticed him. He had crossed the street and was now slightly crouched down. I couldn't tell for sure due to the distance and the shadows, but I was certain he was facing me. I had looked away from him for no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear that he had moved fast. I was so shocked and I stood there for some time, staring at him, and then he started moving toward me again. He took giant, exaggerated tiptoed steps, as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up on someone, except he was moving very, very quickly.
Why
I'd
are
like to
you
say at this point
standing
that I ran
there?
away or pulled out my pepper spray or cell phone or anything at
Why
all,
did you just
but I
stand
didn't.
there?
I just stood there, completely frozen, as the
Run!
smiling man crept toward me. And then he stopped again, about a car length away from me, still smiling his smile, still looking to the sky. When I finally found my voice, I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. What I meant to ask was, what the fuck do
Technical difficulties. Thank God I stopped that when it did. We're gonna go here. There we go.
Regardless of whether or not humans can smell fear, they can certainly hear it. I heard it in
Yeah.
my own voice. That
Run.
only made me more afraid. But he didn't react to it at all.
Run.
He just stood there, smiling.
Run.
And then, after what felt like forever, he turned around, very slowly, and started dance walking away. Just like that. Not wanting to turn my back to him again, I just watched him go, until he was far enough away to almost be out of sight. And then I realized something. He wasn't moving away anymore, nor was he dancing. I watched in horror as the distant shape of him got bigger and bigger. He was coming back my way. He was coming back my way, and this time he was running. I ran too.
Finally!
I ran until I was off the side road and back onto a better lit road with sparse traffic. Looking behind me then, he was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
The rest of my way home, I kept glancing over my shoulder, always expecting to see his stupid smile, but he was never there. I lived in that city for 6 months after that, and I never went out for another walk. There was something about his face that always haunted me. He didn't look drunk. He didn't look high. He looked completely and utterly insane. And that's a very, very scary thing to see.
That's creepy. How many? Okay. Got one more. Wait, no. Oh, okay. So,